While riding solo is great fun, there's a lot to be said about riding and going out in groups. The camaraderie, discovering interesting places like this, talking about the corners and how you tackle those corners. It is all great fun, isn't it?
Well, it's certainly interesting enough for these boys here to have started taking to group rides as many times as they can in a month.
But riding in groups can present its own set of challenges.
Of course, the bigger the group, the larger your challenges.
Welcome then to the 4th edition of the Pulsar Mania Thrill of Riding series, where this month we're going to take our Pulsars and show you how to go out and ride in groups. We're going to give you tips and tricks, and the first thing is try and keep your group size as small as possible. Tip number 1. You want to ride fast, you've got to be prepared. A good full-face helmet with at least ISI certification, if not more, a good riding jacket with armor, armored riding denims or riding pants, boots and gloves. No gear means you simply cannot go out on the ride. But before you gear up and head off, select a lead and a sweep. They should be the most experienced riders in the group. Also, set some basic rules that will help the group stay together. This lets you know where you are in the group and where the other riders are. This also helps communicate easily. If you can't see the rider behind you, stop. When the guy in front can't see you, he will stop. Eventually, everybody stops for the person in trouble. Ride in a staggered formation. Not only will you be able to see ahead of you, you will also have the space to stop if you need to. Agree from before on a set of hand signals that you will use to communicate with each other on the ride. Every rider in the group needs to be on the same page on this one. But at some point, riders are bound to get competitive, don't they?
ग्रुप राइडिंग में रेसिंग इंस्टिंक्ट्स को काबू में रखना सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज हो जाता है, लेकिन ये बहुत ज़रूरी है.
And that's why we focus on something called the pace. Now the pace means that riders in the group don't ride flat out, don't ride as fast as you go and unleash the closet racer inside of you.
इससे हर राइडर अपने कंफर्ट जोन में रहेगा और स्पोर्ट राइडिंग के साथ साथ ग्रुप का सेफ्टी भी बना रहेगा.
Be smart about using corners and straights. There's no fun going fast on straights. Use the straights to get the group together and have a blast in the corners. Remember the pace that we talked about earlier? Well, it is really important that we talk about it in detail. And for that, we have my colleague Vishal Joshi, who's a regular at group rides, especially out here on our favorite riding road outside of Pune.
Thanks, Shirish. You're right. ग्रुप राइडिंग में सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है पेस. लेकिन ये पेस होता क्या है?
The pace is that perfect speed at which the entire group finds comfort. It is not too fast, nor too slow. When you use the pace instead of outright speed, the faster riders do not get bored. But at the same time, the slower riders in the group get a fighting chance to stay with the pack instead of falling behind. If you are riding flat out, then for sure the others will not be able to keep up. Worse, you will end up racing each other, and that is a recipe for disaster. Instead, if you ride at a quick but comfortable pace, everybody is better off. As a result, a group ride on the weekend becomes exciting and fulfilling, for you will pay less attention to keeping the group together and more on the thrill of riding. The beauty of riding in a group without an agenda is that you see a nice off-road trail and you can stop and you can head off dirt. Now with the Pulsars, these bikes are actually pretty good off-road, and Abhishek, who does a lot of off-road riding, has got some off-roading tips.
Thank you, Sunil. Well, I'll admit we are all track junkies, but off-road चलाने का मजा ही कुछ और है.
First and foremost, if you want to ride off-road, you will need to learn how to stand on the pegs. This ensures that your legs act as suspension and saves your spine if you need to jump the bike. Also, it becomes easier to manage the weight of the bike on a surface with less traction, especially if there is a slope. To ride off-road on the Pulsar, you need to have the correct grip on the handlebar and the correct foot position. You need to know how to brake and how to corner while standing up. When you're riding off-road, the first thing you need to do is relax. Have a firm but relaxed grip on the handlebar. Do not hang on to it for dear life. Also learn to operate the clutch using only the middle and index fingers. This allows for a smoother transition of power on any surface that is already loose. Always stand with the balls of your feet on the pegs. This ensures that you don't accidentally hit the brake or gear levers. And make sure you use your knees to hold the tank. Although the Pulsar can do quite a bit of off-roading, it isn't a proper ADV, which means you will have to use your shins to grip the tank. A critical part of riding off-road is cornering while standing on the pegs. If you want to go right, then weigh the right peg and push the tank in with your left knee. At the same time, use your left hip to counterbalance. And of course, keep looking where you want to go. This is a thumb rule of motorcycling, no matter where you ride or what you ride. Use these sport riding tips to not only become a safer and more confident rider in a group, but a faster, safer and more confident rider overall.
ग्रुप में तो सभी चलाते हैं, लेकिन थोड़ा सा दिमाग के इस्तेमाल करने पर आपका मोटरसाइकिलिंग स्किल्स, खास करके आपका ग्रुप राइडिंग स्किल्स बहुत इंप्रूव हो सकता है.
And next month, we'll be back with the Pulsar Mania Thrill of Riding series where we will talk about cornering. See you next month.